We begin, as we often do, with the big story. Big Ten men's lacrosse tournament continues on Thursday. We have reached the semifinal stage. It starts with homestanding Maryland, the #1 overall seed, #1 in the country, unbeaten, playing Johns Hopkins. That game, 5:30 Eastern, can only be seen right here on the Big Ten Network. The nightcap is the 2 seed Rutgers against the #3 seed Ohio State. That game set to start from College Park right around 8 o'clock Eastern time. And we are thrilled now to be joined by the Rutgers head coach, Brian Brecht. Hey, Brian, first and foremost, we appreciate the time. Know it's a busy week for you and for the guys. How is the team feeling both physically and mentally heading into that Thursday night semifinal?
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thanks for having me today. Certainly, I think the guys have been great this week. So a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, final exam. So they're busy and, certainly have a lot on their plate right now.
Seems like a long time ago that you faced Ohio State in the regular season, first conference game of the year. You guys performed so well in that game. 18-7, I believe, was the final. So what did your team do so well on that particular day?
Yeah, I think when you look back, that was a long time ago, back in March. So, we certainly understand that, semifinal game, Thursday night is going to be a challenge for us and, great opportunity for our guys. And I think we played well and we took care of what we needed to do offensively, defensively, middle of the field. So we need to just take care of Rutgers again on Thursday night and, obviously, take advantage of the 60 minutes that we have.
Yeah, as I went back and watched that game, I was really impressed with the defensive performance. Jack Myers, Jackson Reed have been guys who have cut through so many opposing defenses this year, but you really limited both those guys in such a nice job that night. How do you defend them again after they know what they saw from you earlier on in the regular season?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They got some talented players. Myers and Reed are 2 of the better ones in the conference. Certainly well coached, and they do a great job of getting their shots and controlling the tempo on the offensive end. So just proud of our guys. We got a veteran group down there: Jared Jean Felix, Bobby Russo, Ethan Roll. Colin has been great as a leader of the defense, communicating and being strong in the goal for us. So we're going to lean on our experience. The older guys that have been a big part of our success this year and last year, and certainly hopefully be the best version of us for those 60 minutes that we have Thursday night.
Brian, I think you just answered part of this question already, but overall, what is the strength and maybe more importantly, what is the identity of this particular Rutgers group?
Yeah, I think we're extremely well balanced. I think Coach Ryan's done a great job on the defensive end. Coach Ceramit, I think, has evolved our offense. In the half field, 6-on-6. But I think our identity. We want to get great stops. We want to play well on the defensive side of the field. Colin Kurse has helped us make a lot of saves and push transition. We got to continue, being who Rutgers is and taking advantage of the middle of the field in transition. And if that doesn't materialize, very confident in what our offensive guys have been able to do, in the half field set.
Brian, it's interesting that you bring up the word balanced because you look at the individual leading scorers inside the Big Ten, and Ross Scott is the only one of your players who ranks among the top 9 in the league in individual scoring. Yet as a team, you guys are second in the league in scoring per game. So how have you accomplished that this year without an individual guy or multiple guys that are blowing the top off as far as numbers are concerned?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity. Like I said, Coach Ceramit's done a great job of, allowing the guys to have balance, play together. And there's going to be games where, Ross is on fire. We got, 2 great, righties and lefties alongside of him with Mitch Bartolo and Brian Cameron. But give a lot of credit to Ryan Gallagher. He's been the leader of the offense. He certainly stirs the drink. And it's just a jack of all trades. Very good with the ball and the stick, very good off the ball. And, certainly when Ryan Gallagher plays well, our offense is clicking.
Brian, Ross has played, I know, both midi and attack throughout his career. What makes him both dangerous and versatile at the same time for you guys?
The one thing that we saw with Ross is very dynamic with his feet and his athletic ability. So when we had a veteran attack the last couple of years with Mullins and Kirsten, Shalambides, we needed him on the field. So coming out of the box as a midfielder allowed him to get a short stick matchup, initiate, maybe start some of our offensive sets. And with those guys graduating and the success that they've had, needed those, needed him on the field for 60 minutes, with the ball on the stick and off the ball. Got to have your best players on the field as much as we can, and he's certainly one of our best.
It's interesting, Brian, because I chatted with Kelly Amonte-Hiller a couple of weeks ago, the women's coach at Northwestern, and her best player is from Oregon. And I was curious as to how you go out to non-traditional lacrosse hotbeds and find players. And then as I'm doing research for this interview, I find out that Ross is an Oregon guy as well. So I'll ask you the same question I asked Kelly. How do you find a guy like that who is in a non-traditional lacrosse area and get him to come to Jersey?
Yeah, no, I think the sport of lacrosse has grown, nationally and here in New Jersey too. The number of people playing and playing at a high level is certainly there's a lot of good players out there, and fortunately, with all the summer events, a lot of these guys are traveling, and they're still coming back to the East Coast, still coming back to New Jersey, and we're able to see them when they travel for the summer events. So Ross is someone that we've had our eye on early on, and it was great to get him on campus and just watch him develop throughout his high school and summer club career before joining us.
Brian, you mentioned Colin, he being Colin Kirst a couple of times already, continuing a tremendous career in goal for you. How much of a barometer has he been, and will he continue to be the rest of this season for your team's success? Yeah,
he's certainly, like I said, the catalyst on the defensive end, and with the NASCAR transition, philosophy that we have here. So, I think everyone sees the outlets and makes the saves, that are eye-popping and highlight reel. But I just think his demeanor, his approach, his preparation in the film room. He's a great leader in the locker room, off the field, and the guys gravitate to him personality-wise. So he's a no-nonsense, very focused. When he steps on the field, but he's everyone's best friend in the locker room off the field.
All right, Brian, for those who aren't familiar with what that term means or don't really know much about NASCAR, explain that a little bit. You guys like to play in the NASCAR transition phase. What does that mean?
I think all coaches and programs have names of systems and a way to do things. Just something that we phrased a number of years ago, trying to take advantage of allowing teams to need to defend us for the whole 100 yards instead of inside the box. So opportunities for our short stick defensive midfielders, our long poles to run in transition in the clearing game, play a little unsettled 6-on-5, 5-on-4, maybe even 4-on-4 in the subbing game. So there's the initial transition aspect of it, but then there's the subbing and the pace of the play of maybe always prodding and having the defense need to be engaged for the whole time that shot clock is on.
What does that mean for your team's conditioning? Because I think it's an interesting aspect of the sport that not a lot of folks think about. I mean, you have guys who are literally on the dead run for a large at the field.
Yeah, no, it's great in the early season because we're able to play ourselves into shape. Now at the end of the season, we need to, obviously be measured and, make good use of our time. So, the drills are a little shorter, but we try to hit on all aspects of our game, throughout the week of practice as we're preparing.
Brian, you mentioned the evolution of lacrosse and how much more popular it has become as a sport. Let's focus on this league. How would you describe the evolution of the Big Ten Lacrosse Conference, which is really, truly still in its infancy?
Yeah, I'm amazed, not so much amazed as I'm shocked, but exciting of how quickly it's grown as a conference. You take all the individual schools, playing in the Big Ten, the support of all the athletic departments, the academic piece of it. And then from day one, I think, 2015, just jumping onto the scene as a recognized conference, you saw, all 6 teams being able to compete day in and day out. And I think that's continued through this year. So there's never an easy game. I think you got to come ready to play. You got to be prepared. You got to be buttoned up, but you also have to play your best. teams, and I think that's what's exciting for the fans and certainly for our players. The rivalries have certainly gotten more competitive, and there's a sense of urgency every time we get ready for Big Ten play in the second half of the season.
Well, I know that sense of urgency will be there on Thursday night, so let's get you out of here with this. Will there be a Knute Rockne moment, a Vince Lombardi moment, a big-time Brian Brecht pregame speech? What will be the final message to your team before you take on Ohio State Thursday night?
I don't know. I probably evolved a little bit as a coach too. So in my early days, more fire and brimstone, but now it's trusting the players. I have a lot of confidence and belief, and love these guys a lot. So they certainly know what they need to do, and be the best version of themselves. Be prepared, which they are, and just go out and have fun and play hard for 60 minutes.
Brian, we appreciate the time. Best of luck to you and the Scarlet Knights this weekend in College Park. Well, much like his best pitches when he's on, Adam Mazur's numbers are downright nasty. Top 3 in the Big Ten in starts, innings pitched, ERA, and strikeouts. And I want you to focus on where he leads the league. Opponents hitting just 153 against the Hawkeye ace. Yeah, go ahead, dig into the batter's box. See how you feel right now against Adam Mazur. He is kind enough to join us on Big Ten today, and dialed in is an understatement, Adam. You come off a 2-hit complete game shutout last weekend against Nebraska. When you're in the zone like that, from a pitcher's perspective, what does it feel like every time you look and get the sign from your catcher?
It's just a mix of knowing that I got a great defense behind me that are going to make some plays, and then also just knowing that I can locate wherever I need to with all my pitches and kind of just visualize it ahead of time.
So here's what Coach Heller had to say after that, quote, "You just don't see many complete game shutouts in college baseball anymore. I'm sure you were close to a pitch limit. How much of a discussion was there after the 8th about possibly taking you out before the 9th?
Honestly, not a whole lot. I felt like the coaches knew that I wanted to go back out there, and they were wanting me to go back out there too to get the job done. And so it was kind of just a quick conversation between innings. Robin let me know how many pitches I was at, and then just kind of said, "Hey, stay locked in, keep it going, and go do this thing."
How clear is it to a pitcher when you know you can go back out, even if you're getting close to 100 pitches? Do you know right away whether it is the right decision for you to go back out in a situation like that?
For sure. I feel like you can kind of tell body-wise how a guy's feeling. And so just making sure not to show too much on the mound and making sure that the body language is good is big, but then also just executing and just keeping locations is big too, because that shows that you're still locked in and you're still feeling good.
Yeah, and the location of all 4 of your pitches was dialed in for that game and for really almost all of your recent starts. When you're at your best, what are those pitches doing as far as break and movement are concerned?
Fastball can play up or down in the zone, which is really nice, and that's kind of new for me. Slider's been pretty much the same for a while now, and so it's kind of depending on if it's a righty or lefty, it kind of transforms into 2 different pitches, which is nice. And then changeup's been a big one for me. It kind of drops and fades to in on a righty, away from a lefty. And then curveball's been a new pitch that I've kind of really figured out so far this season. And that's really kind of just a flip-in pitch and just change the hitter's eye level.
So how do you develop, even into your college career, how do you develop a new pitch like the curve that you have enough confidence in to throw it when you need to throw it?
That really started this winter. I kind of had a curveball before, but it wasn't very good. And so we just got on the Edgertronic machine and figured out different grips and just messed around until something felt comfortable and had the results that we liked.
As for the fastball, you said now you can locate it up or down. How is that different than it was in the past?
Before, I was just a low ball pitcher and had to keep the ball low. Otherwise, some far hits were going to happen against the high pitches, which was not a lot of fun. And so now being able to throw it up in the zone and get some swing and misses has been a lot more fun for me.
All right, anytime I get to chat with a pitcher, I always kind of throw out the same hypothetical situation. Let's say you're facing the opposing team's best hitter. You're lead by 1. It's a 3-2 count. You're in the bottom of the 9th, and you got a couple of guys on base. What is the one pitch you're going to go to in that situation that you always feel comfortable with, and where are you going to try to locate it?
I'm going with the slider, and I'm getting it down and away. I feel that's kind of my bread and butter pitch. I feel confident with it always, and it usually has some good results. It hasn't been hit around too much this season, and when it does, it usually finds one of the defenders, which is nice.
Do you feel as comfortable throwing that against lefties as you do against righties? Because I know a lot of pitchers sometimes will try to stay away from that breaking slider if, in fact, there's a lefty that likes to go after the low ball.
I feel very comfortable with it, especially kind of working with Robin again on that and just finding out different locations to put it that make it a lot tougher to hit for lefties has been big for me this season. And then just really focusing on trying to start it in certain locations to have it end up in a different location.
Adam, I believe it was in early March, you got kind of drilled in the hip when you were on the mound. I understand it's kind of been lingering throughout most of the year. How have you kind of fought your way through it?
Just getting into the rehab and working with our athletic training staff. They've been really helpful and have helped me through that little setback. And it was definitely there for a little bit. But I'm happy that I'm recovering well and starting to show what I can do.
Starting to show. I mean, you don't have to be quite that humble because the numbers say in your last three, you're 3-0. You've given up a total, not an average, but a total of 2 runs. You've gone at least 8 innings in all 3. When was the last time, or has there been a time in your baseball life when you felt this locked in?
I felt locked in my senior year of high school, but not quite this locked in. I feel really good right now, and I'm just trying to go out there and give my team the best chance to win and just try to keep it a close game for when I come out of the game and just give us a shot to win.
Yeah, and I know pitchers can sometimes be a little superstitious. You don't want to talk too much because you know what can happen on the other end. Trust me, I get it. So let's focus on this entire staff. And as a staff, you're second in the Big Ten in ERA, you're first in hits allowed, you're first in runs allowed, you're first in strikeouts. How confident does everyone in the staff feel in their ability to shut down any lineup or any hitter?
Very confident. I truly believe we have one of the best staffs in the whole nation. We just have a next man up mentality, whether it's the starter not getting the job done or a reliever coming in and getting some mess. We just know that the next guy in is going to pick us up and help us out and carry us on through the game.
For the team as a whole, 3 consecutive Big Ten series wins, including 1 from first place Rutgers, and that was on the road when you took 2 out of 3. What's the overall feeling in the dugout right now in terms of where this team is and how it is progressing with the Big Ten tournament now just 3 weeks out?
We're feeling good. We're kind of playing with a chip on our shoulder. Didn't start out super hot, and so now to finally be able to play the way we know we can play has been huge. And then just backing each other up, whether pitching staff's going out there and doing a great job, or the hitters are going out there and putting up a lot of runs for the pitching staff. I feel like we complement each other well.
All right, lastly, anything we should know about Adam Mazur's pregame rituals? Are there any superstitions, anything that has to happen on the day when you're getting the start?
The only thing I make sure to do is just rub underneath my hat. I have some quotes and some pretty important people to me underneath my hat, and so I like to rub it up on there and to make sure that they know that I'm thinking of them and I know that they're with me.
There must be some important people because you got some good flow. I mean, there'd be nothing wrong with showing that off if they let you do that either. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I'm trying to grow it, but then again, I know kind of once the school year ends, I'll have some more free time to go and get a haircut too.
Yeah, well, I know I don't have to tell you this, but you keep pitching like that, you better not touch the hair. Don't cut a thing, don't change a thing. Iowa pitcher Adam Mazur on a heater right now. Adam, continued success the rest of the way. Can't wait to see what you do through the rest of the regular season.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The Big Ten was stacked with running backs a year ago, and no one, not Travion Henderson, not Blake Corum, not Kenneth Walker, no one ran for more yards per carry than Wisconsin's Braelon Allen, nearly 7 yards per tote. You see the speed, you see the strength, you wonder where it comes from. Let us show you where it comes from. It comes from the offseason. It comes from the weight room. It comes when a guy can clean 406, 1 pound better than his personal record. You look at the side of that bar and you're like, are those really 55 pounds each? Is he really going to clean more than 400? He's going to do it with a little bit of ease, and you can see the love in the weight room. That is where the results start. Braelon Allen knows it's true. He joins us now from Madison. Hey, Braelon, let's focus on that. I mean, obviously, you're a guy who, for someone who just turned 18, you're physically in unbelievable shape. How much of your success do you credit to what you do inside that weight room?
Yeah, I think a lot of my success comes from, my work ethic and the amount of time and work that I put into the weight room. Ever since my freshman year of high school, it's really become a home for me, and somewhere where I've always kind of went to, clear my mind and, just kind of like my sanctuary. So I credit a lot of my success to the weight room for sure.
For those of us who have never been in a weight room situation like that, surrounded with other guys who can put up some serious iron and who understand exactly what it's like, What is that feeling like when you're nailing a PR and all of your teammates are around you and they're just as excited, maybe more excited than you are?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, they all like to, we all like to see everyone succeed. So a PR is one of those things that, you know, gets everybody energized, and it shows that your work is paying off and, you know, you're progressing. So gets everyone fired up, and you know, the love in the weight room when you hit a PR is unreal. So definitely one of my favorite things.
Hey, Braelon, when you look back at the 2021 that you had on the field, what are you most proud of?
I would say I'm most proud of my growth. You know, you can see from my first week really running the ball against Illinois. If you compare that game to, you know, Nebraska or Arizona State, you can really see a huge difference in my game and the stuff that I was able to do. And not even just running the ball, but protection-wise, and you know, just being more of an all-around back, and developing all of my skills as the season progressed.
You're never going to be overwhelmed physically because of the shape that you're in, even though you played all of last year at 17, didn't turn 18 until January of this year. You also seemed fairly calm mentally. Were you as calm inside your head as you appeared to those of us watching from the outside?
Not at first, but, you know, as I started getting more carries and getting more comfortable with the offense and everything, you kind of just realize that at the end of the day, it really just is football, and it's really just what you've been doing for your whole life, and not much is different besides, you know, the guys that you're playing against. So once I realized that and everything started to slow down, I would say I was pretty calm mentally.
You do have one change at offensive coordinator. Bobby Ingram comes in, obviously a guy who had a terrific career both in college and beyond. And I know your head coach, Paul Chryst, still obviously very involved with the offense. What's Bobby's personality? What has changed a little bit from a year ago?
Yeah, I've loved Coach Ingram so far, and you know, he brings a lot of energy to the offense, and overall, I mean, it's Wisconsin football, and you know, our goal, it stays the same. That's, you know, to assert our dominance and run the ball. But, you know, with Coach Ingram, there's some new wrinkles in the offense, which I've really enjoyed. But overall, he's just a great guy, and you know, we've built a pretty close relationship already. So I'm just excited to continue building our relationship and seeing what we can do this fall.
All right, I want to share two quotes from him about you, and let's react to them. The first, he said, quote, "He's a big guy who can move. He's athletic, good hands. He can run routes. We've now challenged him to do more things in the pass game." So how did that challenge play itself out in the spring, and how did you adjust to it?
I enjoyed it a lot. I kind of took it upon myself to make that my emphasis this spring. You know, being able to be a three-down back and run routes and pass protect. I challenged myself in that way, as well as the coaches, and you know, I thought that I wouldn't say exceeded expectations, but you know, I think I proved that I can be a three-down back and catch the ball out of the backfield, and I'm excited to be able to put that on tape this fall.
Now, this is Coach Ingram's favorite quote of mine regarding you. He said, quote, "Braelon wants to be great. He just doesn't say it. He shows it. I respect guys like that." How much do you prefer to let your actions speak for you as opposed to just your words?
Yeah, I think actions speak louder than words, and I haven't always been the most vocal guy. So a lot of my leadership and what I do has all been physically, and I've spoken a lot through my actions. So definitely continue to do that. I think, like I said, that it speaks louder than words. So if I can just go out every day and try to show that I'm trying to be great rather than just talk about it, I think that, shows more.
Let's go to that physical conversation, because I know you did play through some nagging stuff last year. Didn't really slow you down, but you were battling through some minor injuries. How do you feel right now? How did you feel throughout spring ball?
I felt great throughout the spring. Definitely didn't take too long after the season for my body to heal up, and to where I was back to 100% and able to train like I wanted to. So this spring definitely made it a point of emphasis to find a routine that worked for me, and I think I did that. So just got to keep that going and try to find some more things that work for me.
Braelon, what did you see out of quarterback Graham Mertz this spring? How much more comfortable do you think he looked, kind of maybe not looking over his shoulder as he had to in past years?
Yeah, it definitely looked and I was more confident, and you know, I think this newer offense fits him well, and I really just liked the way he attacked, you know, winter workouts and the transition into spring ball, and all throughout spring he was just a great leader and competitor, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
Braelon, were there any other teammates who kind of jumped off the page, guys who during the spring left everybody thinking, man, he could have a monster 2022?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, too many to name, honestly, but at least on the offensive side, there's a few guys I'm really excited about, and I think will have a huge impact this year that maybe didn't play as much last year, like Skylar Bell, Marcus Allen, 2 receivers who are my class, and you know, they had a great spring. So showed some flashes in the bowl game as well, so we know they can play in game, and you know, this spring kind of just helped them a lot in their development and their comfortability with the offense. So I'm really excited about those two.
All right, Braelon, let's wrap up with this. What sort of goals have you set for yourself in 2022?
Obviously, first and foremost is to win a Big Ten championship, and you know, I'm just trying to do my part each and every week to make sure that we win that game. You know, just keep stacking a good week after a good week, and you know, my numbers will pile up, and you know, those will speak for themselves, and the individual accolades will come with that. But I'm really just focused on winning, and that's been the main focus this off season. And you know, we have a group of guys that are all bought into that goal. So yeah, we just got to win games.
Wisconsin sophomore running back Braelon Allen. Braelon, we appreciate the time. We're going to keep watching that Twitter account because you get to 407, 408. We want to make sure that we're aware of it, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
A weekend, what a season for Michigan men's tennis, securing the Big Ten tournament title over the weekend with a win over Ohio State. Ondrej Styler knocking off Cannon Kingsley, one of Ohio State's best, to secure the team title. The Wolverines, not just the Big Ten champion, but they benefit as the number 5 seed of the NCAA tournaments, and because of that, they will host the first and second rounds this weekend in Ann Arbor, starting with Western Michigan. And the most outstanding player in that tennis tournament was the man who secured the team victory, Ondrej Styler, who joins us now from Ann Arbor. Take me through that moment. You obviously know what's at stake, the critical point that gives you the victory, that gives the team the victory. What was the feeling and the reaction like?
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me. But going back to the weekend, I think it was a roller coaster. We started off in a doubles where we lost the doubles point, and then we were battling in the singles. A lot of the guys were battling long first sets, and I was unfortunately down in the first set. I lost the first set and eventually found the strength with my teammates and somehow turned the match around, and it just came down to my court. I was honestly just trying to focus and trying to think about, like, not today. I'm just sticking with my teammates and just push through, and I'm just really glad for me and for the whole team that we managed to pull the win.
Yeah, we're getting to watch some of the critical points from that match right now, including obviously the match point there at 5-4 and the two-handed backhand. Take me through the ups and downs of a match like that when you know so much rides on it. You mentioned you lose the first set. Both the second and third are sets where there are critical points which you're able to win, that if you lose, it could go either way. How mentally do you stay inside a match like that to not let it get too big?
I think it's very important to just stay present and just kind of try to grab the momentum. I was a little bit down in the first set. I felt like I was still losing a little bit in the second set, but I was just trying to stay mentally tough and then fight for every ball. And it eventually paid off where I kind of just got on top on the second set tiebreaker. And then in the third set, I think it just came down to who was more brave and who wanted it more. and it just happened to be me on that day. And eventually, I think that's what is the most important in all our matches and for all of our teammates, where we just try to play point by point and just to try to give our best. And we know that if we can get our best, we can win. We can win almost any match. So that was kind of my mindset.
What is the strength of your game specifically?
It would be definitely a big serve and big forehand, but I've lately been trying to incorporate more like all-court style, where coming in to the net and play some volleys is definitely a strategy. And it was a different match. It's playing Cannon. It was a great match from him as well. The strategy was a little bit different, kind of mix up the pace a little bit. But yeah, definitely my serve is the #1 weapon.
Ondrej, I know you're an international guy, but everybody that wears the maize and blue has to understand the rivalry with Ohio State. How long did it take you to kind of glean exactly how important that was?
It didn't take too long. Honestly, since I get to Ann Arbor, it just emerged into this rivalry, and since then I'm part of it. And Ohio State has been a rival of myself and our team for as long as I'm on the team, for 3 years now, and I'm just really happy that we kind of managed to turn around the momentum in the tennis scene, where in the previous years we weren't as successful against Ohio State, but now I would say we're definitely competitive, and we won most of the latest encounters.
What was your journey like from Prague to Ann Arbor?
It was different. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very different culture. Everything's a little bit more. It's just different. I can talk about it for hours here, all the different details. But it's been a great shift in my life. I'm really proud that I made the decision to come here. I think I'm benefiting from it a lot. It was very. To be honest, it was tough at the beginning, but I think now it's becoming rewarding too, because I've gained some experiences that otherwise I wouldn't be able to experience.
And I know you came to college with a ton of confidence. Your last year of juniors is such an amazing story. You win the French Open boys doubles, you get to the Wimbledon boys doubles finals that same year, and yet you were battling some serious health issues. How much did that summer kind of propel you into being able to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, I was coming in with a lot of motivation, a lot of drive, I would say. But then I was kind of pushed back by an injury on my wrist, and I was battling with that for almost 2 years. I had a surgery, and I was coming back off a surgery, and this semester was actually the first semester I've been playing sort of pain-free and really enjoying myself on the court, which I think was essential. That this season has been going on so well for me and for our team.
I know you're focused right now on being in the moment in Ann Arbor and this weekend's tournament, but when you think about home, what do you miss the most?
I obviously miss my family. I haven't seen them in a while. Actually, they visited for a couple of days a couple weeks ago, but I miss my family. I miss my home friends, and miss the Czech food, which is a little bit different than American food. But otherwise, I'm really happy here too. I have friends and I have people around me here that it's great here too.
Ondrej, what food do you miss the most, and what do you replace it with here? What's your favorite thing to eat around campus?
So I miss the traditional food. It's a traditional Czech dumplings with pork and some radish. But I think that the most favorite restaurant in Ann Arbor would be Taste Kitchen.
All right, so you get a little bit of that, get ready for your Friday match at home against Western Michigan. What's the focus of this team as you head into hosting the first and second rounds this weekend?
I think that the focus remains the same. We're just trying to approach every match the same way, and the whole team is just really enjoying themselves on the court right now. And it's just a joy to be with everyone on the court, and we just can't wait to go out there and then give our best for this season finale.
Well, it's great to catch up with you. It's great to meet you. We wish you the best of luck. It's been a terrific year, I know, for you and Michigan so far. We hope you guys keep it going this weekend.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
We are back on Big Ten today with the big stat. Carol Hutchins, the first NCAA softball coach to reach 1,700 wins. More wins than anybody else who has ever coached a sport. I mean, you go ahead and do the math. 38 years, 1,700 wins. That's way above my math grade, but I can tell you that is a lot of wins per season. And we are thrilled now to be joined from Ann Arbor by Carol Hutchins, of course, known to her fans, her team, pretty much everybody out there as Hutch. Coach, let's start there. You're the first ever to get to 1,700, and I know you don't like to dwell on your quote-unquote individual accomplishments because you always say they are team accomplishments, but that does seem like a really big number to me. Does it seem like a giant number of wins to you when you think about it?
You know, I've said this every time I've been asked a question like this. The only game that I ever care about and the only game I ever want to win is the one we're playing. That's the only game I ever focus on. And, you know, when I look back at all the people that I've had in my life here at the University of Michigan and really the network of colleagues across the country, we're in the people business. And obviously, we like to think that we teach life lessons on the field that really help these student athletes become strong, powerful women and to achieve success well beyond their college softball. And I'm so proud to be a part of that, but this is about people. And I've been really fortunate with all the great people that I've been surrounded with, from my support staff to my coaches to all the players. And really, when I reflect on anything, you know, my greatest joy is all the former student athletes that are my alums, and when they come back to Ann Arbor and we get to celebrate being together, that's my greatest joy.
And some coach on your staff, some coach elsewhere. You talked about your staff. I mean, between yourself, Bonnie, and Jennifer, just those three, you're over 100 years of coaching experience together in one program. Now, I'm not saying that to say it's a long time, but it is. I mean, do you stop to realize every now and then how rare and how special that is in any sport?
Yeah, I definitely note that I think we are this, believe it or not, continuous staff in the country. I believe Holly Hesse over there at Southwest Missouri, they're about a year or two ahead of us. But, you know, how fortunate am I that we've been able to stay together? And I think there is no doubt. And I don't know how many victories the three of us have together, but it's most of them. And our championships and our World Series appearances, this is a direct reflection of Bonnie Thole and Jennifer Brundage and our ability to work together and stay together. And they're as convicted, they are as intentional, and they are as driven as well beyond what I could ever be. And they have been selfless to the University of Michigan.
Hutch, I think most people would say, boy, the game must be so different. It must have changed so much over the past 37, 38 years. How true is that? How different is the game now from the time that you posted your first win in Ann Arbor?
Well, you know, I've been in the game of softball since I was about 15 years old. And to me, it's the greatest game in the world. And now everybody knows about it thanks to, you know, television. Our own networks. There is no question that what's evolved more than anything is the visibility, the attraction of students and student athletes around the country. And yeah, but we've continued to improve, and the resources, you know, stadiums and the ability to have full-time coaches who spend all their time making their sport better and making their student athletes better. I mean, it's just increasingly gotten bigger and better. With the opportunities out there for young women to get to play this great sport.
How different, how similar are the players in terms of athletic ability, skills from then to now?
Well, again, I think kids haven't really changed all that much. They want to have fun. They want to enjoy their experience. They want to get better. And they want to win for their school. But now they are definitely trained at a much higher level from a much younger age. And you could certainly say there's a lot of pluses to that. And you could also say there's some negatives to that. That we need to let young kids be young kids and not be focused on going to college until it's time to really consider going to college. And kids who are only intentional in one sport at such a young age, I've never thought that's a positive. Being a 2 or 3 sport athlete just makes you a more well-rounded athlete, a more well-rounded person. And there's all sorts of different, you know, I played basketball and softball in college, and I got to play at a really high level softball, and I learned a lot of great lessons in basketball, and I cherish them all.
Hutch,
I think it's really important.
Let's focus on this year. I know the start of Big Ten play a little bit slower than expected, than we've become accustomed to, but obviously Lexi Blair missed some time in April with that injury. You've now won 7 of 9. How much of this latest run is fueled by her return, and what other players have kind of stepped up their games during this period?
Well, you know, I think every year is different, and you have to credit the most important factor here, which is the rest of the Big Ten is playing at a great level. And I credit all my colleagues who've worked so hard as we understand that, you know, we're a conference that can be a difference maker. We have some of the best academics and athletics in the country, and people are paying attention. And kudos to the rest of the Big Ten. And certainly, we've learned how to be a gritty, come back, come from behind team, and it's fun to watch. Our kids still believe in themselves, and you know, we believe all the best is in front of us, and having Lexi Blair back certainly has been helpful, but you know, I feel that our kids are really playing some of their best softball right now.
And that's important because you have Wisconsin this week, and the Badgers, as it sits right now, just ahead of you in the standings, but a sweep and you leapfrog them. So what's the biggest key this week? What's your biggest concern with a lineup that has some really good bats, including, of course, Kayla Conwent?
Well, again, we've got to control what we can control. We need to have good at-bats ourselves. We need our bats to come to play and to battle, because we haven't played a series yet that wasn't a battle, that wasn't exciting, intense. And we got to just stay in our one-pitch moment, and we can only worry about one game at a time. And you got to take care of your business, and it's going to be a really fun, exciting series up in Madison.
All right, Hutch, before we wrap up, let's leave the softball field and talk about something that's bigger than the sport, a reason why you're wearing the pink jacket today, and the dedication that you and this program have had to cancer research, specifically breast cancer, and the amount of money that you have raised for awareness and research. The importance of that, where did it come from for you, and what's the feedback like that you've received over the years as you continue to perform such an important task?
Well, this is the 13th year of the annual Michigan Softball Academy. We surpassed the $1.5 million mark before this year's Academy in monies raised to the American Cancer Society. All proceeds go to the American Cancer Society and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. It's a 2-hour softball clinic on our field every year, except the last 2, which have been virtual. And this past Thursday night, we had 200 participants. We raised, we're still counting, but over close to $193,000 in net. And once we pay some of our expenses, we'll be well over $170,000 raised in one evening for research and all things breast cancer. And it's been a huge part of our program. Our kids are enormously proud of it. It's some of the most fun they have ever as they get to teach all their fans. A lot of it's our fan base that comes out to get to go on the field, and they get to pitch, they get to be radar, they get to run the bases, they get to slide. And then we followed up with a silent auction, a social mixer where they get to drink wine, and it has been enormously successful. We have some folks who've been at all 13 academies. It's really one of my greatest joys, and to me, it's one of the highlights of anything we've ever accomplished here in Michigan softball.
Amazing. So well said. I know 1,700 is a great number, but that amount of money raised, that's an even greater number, and I know you echo that as well. Hutch, we truly appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend against Wisconsin the rest of the way. Congratulations on 1,700, and we really appreciate the time.
I appreciate you guys checking in with us, and, you know, good luck to everybody as we all make our postseason run.